of life. So during the holiday, grow. One way you'll know you're growing is when things that used to be big seem little to you. One way you'll know growing is when giant catastrophes can be shrunk down quickly into, hey, I can handle this. And instead of expecting that joy lasts forever, just know life is progress, baby. Growth is everything. Growth will give you more to give. And as you give more, you'll love more. You'll love yourself, you'll love your life, and you'll be a source of generous love to others. Happy holidays. I'll be with you next week.
You're about to hear again from Cedric King, the retired U.S. Army Master Sergeant who experienced firsthand the physical and psychological impact of war. But he's also experienced tremendous growth due to a shift he made in his mindset. Here's Cedric as he describes his reaction to the news that his legs had been amputated.
You want to talk about tears? Oh my goodness. I'm not a crier, but I sobbed for weeks because I felt like, what's the point? What's the point of starting all over again, trying to figure out how to live life again with what's the point? There was a moment where I wished I had just died out on the battlefield. Looking at the road ahead seems so hard. It's like it had just been easier if that were the end of the book. But now, that was just the end of a chapter? You mean I gotta start all over again, no whole new story without legs? How am I gonna do that? The future can look so intimidating when you know that everything you had is gone now. The way that you did things, guess what? That's not the way that you can do things anymore.
Now in a wheelchair with prosthetic legs, Cedric had to experience life in a totally different way. Daily tasks that used to be simple and almost thoughtless were now major challenges. Things like taking a shower, eating, and getting out of bed.
You initially are just into a terrible space. You find out that everything is different. You fall in love with the way things were, because the way things were manageable. I could control the way things were. I can't control things now. And because I'm out of control and I don't have a say-so anymore, sometimes life could be pretty intimidating, pretty daunting.
Many people can relate to this feeling of needing to be in control. This stems from one of our basic needs as human beings, something Tony calls certainty. It's our desire to feel safe, secure, protected. If you let certainty rule your life has to stay the same, a nearly impossible expectation to fulfill. After losing his legs, Cedric lost control of most everything. He couldn't control how he was feeling or his pain. He couldn't control his progress. He couldn't control when he ate or when he called his mom on the phone in the hospital because he had bandages on his hands. But after a while, Cedric realized there was one thing he could control.
I will tell you right now, I just sobbed in pain, but that pain and that despair was also the thing that helped me find out that attitude was the only thing that I really needed. When I needed help to do everything in my life again, I didn't have control over anything except for my attitude. I could always control my attitude. I couldn't control how much seasoning they were going to put on the broccoli. I couldn't control how much orange juice they were going to bring. I wanted 2 Gatorades. They brought me 1. The Jell-O, it was sometimes a fruit cocktail, sometimes it was Jell-O, sometimes it had any fruit in it at all. I couldn't control anything except for the way that I responded. And ultimately, over the last 6 years, I found that that's the only thing I really needed control over anyway. That's the only thing that really mattered. If you had given me control over how much seasoning, it wouldn't have mattered. But give me control over the attitude, and I'll change everything else.
This shift in mindset was life-changing for Cedric. And in the midst of everything, he realized something else that was very important. Despite his pain and how unfair it was to have his life completely changed, he couldn't continue to live in a state of self-pity because he had people in his life that were counting on him, people that he loved.
Part of the recovery was I had to be a husband and a dad again. So for me feeling sorry for myself, for me thinking that, let me just end it all. No, I had people counting on me. I had a mom that expected me to be a son. I had a wife that was expecting me to be a husband. I had kids that were expecting me dad again. And it didn't matter that I didn't have legs. It didn't matter. We still need you to be dad. Still push me on the swings from the wheelchair, Still lift me up from the wheelchair. That's not going to be something that they cut me slack on. My wife's like, look, hey, you still got to take out the trash. You just do it in a wheelchair. I was like, but I'm in a wheelchair. She's like, I'm not going to feel sorry for you just because this happened to you. And that was one of the greatest gifts. She doesn't know it to this day, but that's one of the greatest gifts she could have given me, is not feeling sorry for me. She didn't allow me to adopt a new identity.
Cedric pressed on in his recovery. He took on new physical challenges that he had never before even considered when he had both of his legs. Less than 2 years after his accident, he completed the Boston Marathon, running on prosthetic blades. He also went on to compete in the 70.3-mile half Ironman triathlon, the New York City Marathon, and a 48.6-mile Disney Marathon series. These challenges, while physically daunting, helped him strengthen his mind, his determination to grow, and renewed his hunger to succeed. Throughout his recovery, Cedric also built an incredible community of people around him, people that wanted to see him win.
As life was coming back, for me to be able to trust, I knew that the circumstances were going to be on my side now. I knew that the people were going to be on my side. Everybody that I came in contact with, I knew that they were going to be a part of my recovery, or they were going to come along as a talisman or some sort of assistance to my recovery. I trusted that everybody that was going to come on my pathway was on Team Cedric. It's the short form of the story, but it's the truth though. Tackle the challenges that you're afraid of. And the people that are there helping you tackle it will sometimes become your best allies, your most favorite friends, right there in the midst of tragedy. Tackle the chemo, tackle it. And I promise you, the people that are gonna help you tackle it, they're gonna be your friends for life. Maybe the chemo, or maybe the leukemia, or maybe the diagnosis, or maybe the bankruptcy allows you to see the friends that will be your allies for the rest of your life.
In the end, despite the excruciating circumstances and pain of losing his legs, Cedric wouldn't trade it for the world.
I tell people this, I do it all over again. And again, and again, and again, and again. Because now my mindset is far more valuable than 2 sets of legs. The mindset that I have now, give me that mindset. Take the legs, you can keep them. I'll keep the mindset. Keep the arms, keep the other parts of my hand, keep all that. Give me the mindset. I got all I need. I'll take it, I'll make it work for me. If those guys in Afghanistan that put the bomb in the ground, if they're listening, thank you. Thank you. You made my life so much better. I'm not saying thank you because I wanted to live a life with no legs, but thank you for allowing me to see all the friendships that you gave me. Thank you for allowing me to see all the opportunities that came my way. Because all I had to do was overcome my own mindset, overcome my own negative thinking.
You're listening to the Force for Good season of the Tony Robbins podcast. To learn more about the 10 gifts that we're featuring this holiday season, including emotion, drive, growth, joy, gratitude, connection, consciousness, grace, presence, and forgiveness, please visit www.tonyrobbins.com/gift